I wanted to give up at life so many times when I was a kid and end it all. I felt unwanted and ugly. I faced so much rejection and neglect. I had depression, anxiety, and couldn't make friends. While writing this book, I haven't seen any family in over 7 years. One reason I haven't seen them is that the borders were shut over COVID, and I couldn't cross because I'm unvaccinated. Another reason is if I go back to my hometown, all my hard work of healing my inner child will get re-triggered and undone. I don't want to face my dad again as well, he is scary. Apparently, I'm not his daughter anymore anyway. He is so unpredictable, and if I went back there, he would probably hurt me for exposing him to all my family. He said I would never be his daughter again unless I say that I was lying about his abuse, which of course I wouldn't do that. So, we had to part ways and cut the cords. I kind of got closure, I guess, because I made the decision not to cower and be controlled by him. He had issues with me way before everything got exposed about him. Back when I was a young teenager, he didn't love me like the other kids. I think I've figured out why, which I'll explain later. It's about him potentially not being my real dad. I wrote a chapter about it. I have a little bit of evidence to back up my theory. One time as an adult when I visited him, I said how I like chiropractors. Then out of nowhere, he starts abusively screaming at me about how chiropractors are bad, and how I'm a sinner and terrible person for going. That day I stood up to him and said that he is wrong. That was the first time, and only time I yelled back at him. I think he hated chiropractors because he didn't want to heal his sciatic nerve. He was getting government payments to not work because of his back. He yelled at me because I had a solution, which wasn't even targeted at him. I was talking about myself and my own body, and how I wanted to heal myself. As an adult now, I've made my own decision that I no longer want to go to chiropractic. One reason I have stopped going is because of finances, and another reason is due to watching fearful YouTube videos about people's stories and things that went wrong. Also, the last chiropractor I saw gave me a creepy vibe. He looked through me when he was talking to me like I was a ghost. He also hurt my neck and I had to go back so he could fix his mistake. He wasn't professional because I went there with a sore shoulder, and he didn't even work on my shoulder at all. The other chiropractors worked on my shoulders. I might go back to a chiropractor in the future, but I'll try and get by without going until I need to. Maybe I'll just get massages for now until I build up trust again. Another time Dad humiliated me and belittled me is when one of my aunties came over with her little girl. We got into the conversation about birthdays. I said to my auntie how we didn't have birthday celebrations growing up. Then Dad starts yelling, in front of my little cousin too, saying, "We did celebrate your birthdays. We always gave you presents and cake." He just kept yelling until I agreed with him, even though he was wrong. He kept repeating himself, yelling over and over, until I finally agreed with him just to shut him up. Back when I moved in with my parents after leaving my long-term ex, one of the first times leaving him, maybe 3 years into the relationship, my dad resented me the whole time. I've never felt so much hate in my life. His glare could kill a fly. He would glare at me frowning with his arms crossed sitting in his chair. It was called the daddy chair. I was there until he made me feel so uncomfortable and unsafe that going back with the ex felt safer. That's why I decided to move to Victoria with my ex. I had nothing to make me want to stay in my hometown. Also, when I moved back to my parents' house, I took my cat with me. I spent my whole time in my room forced to smell the cat litter because I couldn't put it in the laundry. I got a bad cough from it. My mum would force me to put the cat litter in my room. She didn't care about my health. I remember telling my parents specifically, "Do not let my cat outside." They purposely disrespected me when I was at work and let her outside against my will. They didn't love animals, so it wasn't to be nice to the cat. It was to have power over me and make me worry all day while I was at work. I did art when I was in my room. I even hung art up in the local pub, which I previously worked at for a few weeks. Doing art kept me alive. I stayed in my room most of the time to avoid abuse by Dad. I also did a course while being in my room to escape the situation I was in. I couldn't concentrate because my family had no respect, making noise and being distracting. The course was a scam anyway. I did all the work and there were no teachers. I got scammed $3,000, which I'm still paying back at tax time. Should be paid back this year. Dad screamed at me, accusing me of things, screaming swear words through my door in front of the whole family at dinner time. I would skip dinners just to not go out there into the family room. He would constantly scream and yell through the door at me. He would call me AB*TCH, selfish and a mongrel. He was being abusive for no reason. I didn't do anything to deserve it, except come back home, because I needed a safe place to stay. It wasn't safe with Dad there. He had an evil spirit in him. My brothers and Mum just let Dad abuse me and didn't care if I went hungry. As long as it's not them, then who cares about anyone else? They all turned a blind eye to it. I felt extremely let down and lonely. I looked up to my oldest brother, but he let me down a lot and didn't protect me from Dad. Also, I'm allergic to wheat and had to buy gluten-free food when I moved back home. He screamed at me for that too and called me selfish. I was working at a supermarket at the time, and one day I came home to cook lunch quickly. I bought some meat and fried it, then Dad abusively screams at me, calling me selfish for not buying food for the whole family. Later after work I had to buy meat for the whole family, and it costed me around $200 because I have a huge family of 7 people. After that I just ate lunch at work. He also had a go at me once when I bought takeaway chicken and chips and ate it outside the front on my lunch break. He was jealous or something. In the mornings before school, my parents made us kids eat their cheap, disgusting breakfast muesli. It was a bunch of cheap ingredients they would toss together in a huge container with their bare, unwashed, dirty hands. I didn't like eating Mum and Dad's muesli mix they used to mix up and make us eat as kids. It always gave me a stomachache. I was never taken to the doctors for anything. I had stomach aches a lot as a kid. As an adult, I got diagnosed for celiacs. Also, I hated how everyone used their hands to scoop the muesli. I hated germs as a teenager and a kid. I would even hold my breath when one of my gross family members burped around me, even if they breathed on me as well. Sometimes the breakfast had dead flies in it too, because it was cheap and nasty rolled bran. Sometimes I would eat at the breakfast club at school, or just skip breakfast. My mum and brothers were always burping and farting and mucking around. I felt like an alien in my family because I didn't behave like that. I was civilized and mature. When I stayed in my old room at my parents' house, I was suicidal. I did put cuts on my upper arm where no one would notice, but nothing bad happened from it. I just cut a few cuts, then had a mental breakdown, crying and staying in my room with no food or water. I didn't wear short sleeves for a while. I still have very faint scars. I didn't go through with anything, hence why I'm still here writing this book. I thought about eating nightshade a lot, as a way to end it. I thought about it constantly for a while. I walked past deadly nightshade every day when I worked at the shopping center. One day I really wanted to attempt eating it, and I was going to do it. But then I found a necklace with Jesus on it which gave me hope. Jesus saved me that day. I had a mental breakdown that day. Work was treating me bad, then I had to go to another toxic environment after work. I had to go home to my drunk dad and mum. I had no hope in living. God always gives me hope right when I'm about to give up. Mum invading my boundaries. My mum used to look behind the couch or chair I was sitting in to see who I was texting or what I was doing on my laptop. She would go through my drawers when I was at work. I had a dildo in one, so she would have got a shock, which makes me laugh thinking about it. She would barge in without knocking. Spy on me and my brothers talking. She was scary and I never knew what mood she was going to be in. I couldn't talk to her because she would yell. Sometimes I wanted to tell something important to my mum, but I had to wait until I thought she was in a calm mood, otherwise I would get yelled at. Usually, she would be in the kitchen cooking, and I was never sure if she was approachable. I used to risk it and ask her a question, not knowing if I was going to get yelled at, made fun of, or get an actual serious answer from her. The kind of unpredictable treatment I got from her I subconsciously carried with me into adulthood. I used to be shy and felt people's emotions. In the workplace, for example, I would wait until the supervisor was in a good mood to ask her something. Also, if she looked mad, I took it personally and thought I did something wrong. I used to carry around a burden that I was making everyone upset all the time, and I used to overthink everything. I used to always ask if people were okay just because I felt like I was in trouble or something. I am so grateful I healed that people-pleasing trauma behavior. I no longer absorb people's emotions around me because I learned at the end of the day you are the one suffering, and they go home and totally forget about your existence. Meanwhile, you're lying in bed overthinking everything you said during the day, beating yourself up for no reason. Also, I learned people don't stay in your life forever, so why try and make other people happy before yourself when they will one day just be a distant memory? I always look after myself and my own emotions before helping other people now. It has made me so powerful, and people respect me more. I don't seek validation anymore. I wear what I want to wear, say what I want to say. I don't lower my emotions to be at anyone's level if they are sad. I have learned that I am a powerful woman. Once I got fly spray poisoning for spraying out a caravan my parents were making me stay in the backyard. They didn't take me to the hospital, they left me to die. My eyes were swollen, and I couldn't breathe properly. I collapsed, but I managed to get up and ran myself a bath, and laid in it, which I think saved my life. Also, my skin was kind of green. I had a job interview the next day, but didn't get the job because my eyes were so swollen. The employer probably assumed I was high on something. More about the long-term ex. When I first moved out of home and started living with my ex at his mum's house, his mum had some kittens which she bred. I wanted a cat, he said no. I finally said okay, I don't want one, then he lets me have one. In fact, he forced me to have one when I decided not to. Back in my old town in Western Australia, during one of the first breakups with the ex, I moved back to my parents. I had a huge realization because everyone at work was on my ex's side about the breakup. They all took his side of the story because he had a charming persona to the outside world. He was helpful and did nice things for people. He even fixed people's computer problems for free. Everyone hated me at work. I tried handing in my resignation because of all the hate and because no one believed my side of the story of why I broke up with him. They didn't believe he had that side to his personality. My boss at the time didn't take my resignation seriously. He folded it up and put it in his back pocket. He didn't believe I was quitting because he was listening to my ex. They were buddies. So, I stayed in that toxic workplace and eventually went back with my ex because it was safer than being with my toxic, abusive, drunk parents' house. My ex followed me one time to meet me at my car outside work, and when I got into my car, he wouldn't let me shut the door. He physically forced it to stay open until I was manipulated to go back with him. He made me go back with him just to save his reputation and make me look like a liar. Also, once when I left him, back in my old town, my ex came over to my parents' house and sat out the front. I called the police, and when they came, they didn't take me seriously and they took my ex's side because the whole town loved him. They recognized him from work. My ex used to give the cops discounts and keep things out the back for them. The police have let me down so much in my life, from ex-boyfriends to my sister's sexual abuse by my dad. That's why I avoid going to the police as much as I can, because they always take the wrong person's side. Similar thing happened with my high school boyfriend. He came around and sat out the front threatening to be *MB my parents' house, and the police did nothing to protect me. He sat across the road every day watching the house for about a week. He was trying to scare me. Back to the story. My long-term ex would often get his car detailed, which costed a lot of money, and he expected me to get my car detailed too, even though he got paid twice as much as me. I couldn't really afford to get my car detailed every 2 weeks. I had to pay half of everything even though he got paid twice as much as me. I think he tried to make me drain my bank accounts so that H could control me more and convince me to join accounts with him. He was very smart like that. He would make me drain my bank on things that didn't matter so that I would stay codependent on him. He wouldn't let me buy what I wanted, only things for him. For example, he spent thousands on his fish tanks and computers and buying brand new furniture and stuff. He would make me buy expensive ornaments for his fish tanks. He decided to live in a fancy newly built house, which he could easily afford, but it drained my bank account. I was financially stuck with him. I did not want to join bank accounts with a tyrant like him. That would have been the end game for me. If I had have done that, I'm not sure I would still be here. I would have got too depressed and stuck. I'm sure there is help for people going through these types of situations though, especially nowadays. He made me sell my old car and use up my $10,000 savings for a new car. He made me sell my old car to his brother for $500 when I bought it for around $5,000 from my brother. It had a lot of work done to it too and was an amazing car. It had a new motor and everything. At first, he tried to take the money I had saved up by myself before I met him, but I stood my ground. So, he manipulated me with it. He didn't appreciate gifts either, because he felt entitled to my bank account. I bought him a watch and he left it in the cupboard and never wore it. He didn't even say thank you for it either. He was entitled to my hard-earned money. If I bought something for myself, he would open it and take it from me. He opened my mail all the time and yelled at me if I opened his. Once my nana did a painting for me and sent it to me in the mail. I was so excited to see it, he grabbed it off me and ripped it open. He was being immature and pretending to throw it around and rip it. I cried so much that day. One reason it made me sad is because I hadn't seen my nana for a few years and the painting was sentimental to me. One time when I moved to Victoria with him, we went to SeaWorld for something to do. While we were there, in the gift shop, he decided to buy a dolphin massager tool for back rubs. I said, "What's the point of buying that? You never even touch me or rub my back." He said he would start. We got home and after a few days he still didn't use it on my back. I kept asking and waiting. I had to rub his back with it though, which was so selfish of him. After that, when he was at work, I had a mental breakdown. I start screaming and I threw the massager at a cupboard. I was so angry. He never held me or anything. I would always be the one to give him massages. When he did hold me, it was soft like he was disgusted by me or something. He never held me around the waist or anything. He would softly pat me like an animal. And that's it. An example of our relationship was a bit like Sheldon and Amy's relationship from the TV show The Big Bang Theory. That show was triggering to me in the past. He did a lot of night shifts and would come home and go straight to his computer. The store manager was sweet on him, and he did everything she asked. She would ring 3 a.m. in the morning and ask him to go to the store to fix something. She did that a few times. The way she talked on the phone sounded seductive. He would flirt his way with successful women for his own gain. We moved to Victoria because his brother moved here. He was attached to his brother more than his mum. He was a mummy's boy. I moved across Australia with him because I had to get away from everything and had an opportunity to transfer to a new store that just opened. I felt safer being with him than staying with my family, so I went with him. Before we moved to Victoria, we went on a trip to see my ex's brother here. On the plane, he would give me cold shoulder the whole time. When we got off the plane, he walked way ahead of me. He was ashamed to be seen with me. I think at that time I had put on weight, and he made me feel bad for it even though when I went on the pill, he was supportive and said he won't care if I put on weight from it. He wanted to look single, I guess. I wasn't good enough for him. He was so nice and happy with his brother, and I was invisible to him. His brother was nice, he didn't treat me invisible. He was the opposite of my ex. He was nice and friendly and gave me eye contact while we talked. His brother turned out to be gay though, which is okay. It's just that I kind of liked him at one point, so it came as a humiliating shock.